Hello and welcome. It is August the 25th or 6th and a Sunday. Another week before August is gone, and we have September 2025. A colleague asked me, how do you choose your reading material? Now, I basically teach college writing, usually the lower levels, such as what they call English 101, Remedial 098, 097, and sometimes English 101, which is a research paper. When I started at the college level, usually I always use somebody else's syllabi. The department usually gave you samples that the teachers use, and they obviously giving you an idea of what they want you to use, the type of material you want to touch on. Over the years, I've noticed that most of the reading material I use that was suggested by other teachers or by the department or something like that really didn't work, meaning that the students really didn't read the stuff or weren't interested in it. And since I had a large Afro-American Black community at Community College of Philadelphia, I started doing some research, realizing that I enjoy the reading material that I'm being given. However, the students don't. And I realized I'm there to help them, not help myself. And all right. So a couple things happened in a few years. One is that I introduced grammar, in fact, a part to speech, and that will be another podcast. How to go from college teaching down to 6th grade. But I did it. And then the other thing was how to utilize a full-length novel, which was not recommended by the department at all. In fact, almost most fact colleagues really disliked my taste. However, it worked. But that's another podcast. So teaching material, I started to read a lot, and I was articles, so I realized short articles are better than sometimes long. And it's too dense, the reading that the department gave it, and quite boring. So I slowly went into Thomas Sowell, who's still alive. He's a very prolific writer, mostly academic writing type of thing. Did a lot of research. He works at a fellowship, I can't remember where. And he's written quite a few books. A lot of them comparing American education to British education, why black students are doing better in other countries than this country and things like that. But the students do that, even in the short articles, without longer piece, 2-3 page article, didn't go over. And then I switched to Dinesh D'Souza, who's I believe is a conservative writer, and I thought he talked about why are there poor people, why do they hate us, and something like that, meaning why do other nations hate the United States and stuff like that. I enjoyed the article, but they didn't go over too well either. And Thomas Sowell made a comment once in reading something about one of his colleagues. He talked about Walter E. Williams, an economist, and by the way, Sowell's an economist too. And he talked about his closest friend, Walter Williams. Well, Williams writes usually weekly, for many, many years, he wrote weekly columns, 2-page columns. I read them and I said, it's not that interesting in the sense that it's too weak, it's not really college material. Yet, I ended up using him. In fact, I've been using him for several years now, quite a few years, well over 10 years. And one of them is How to Become Richer, How to Become a Millionaire by Walter E. Williams. And it's 1.5, 2-page paper. And I was told by several students the first time we read it was finally, if something is interesting that I can use in my life. Now, his whole idea is to get a job, go to school, get degrees, get more education, whether it's a college or it's some type of training, and save money and invest. Mostly in the stock market, mostly mutual fund type of investment, and think about compound interest. So I started to use him, and then I finally started to do things such as I would boldface 10 or 20 words in there that they might not know, and they had to look up. So they had to look up and then write a definition of what it meant, and also try to write 1 or 2 sentences meaning that. And then I started to use it, so I believe there's something like 10 paragraphs, and they're all short, by the way, to give the main idea. Let them write the main idea. Then I use paraphrasing, how to paraphrase. So I introduced many different writing strategies. So summarize, main idea, paraphrasing. Paraphrasing being one of the last ones, because that's a lot harder. But even paraphrasing in 1 sentence and then maybe 3 or 4 sentences, because that's the next step. Meaning when you go to 102 and you get the English research paper, a lot of it, in fact most of it's paraphrasing. But Williams touches on a chord about the main thing that you need to do, how to save, how not to waste money, where to invest in the stock market. He talks about following the S&P 500 for the last 50 years or 80 years. It's been 10%. At 10%, so compound interest is a very important point, but that's one of the main things I have to go over and explain to them in detail, what compound interest and how that works for $100, $1,000, $10,000. I don't go too much higher because these students do not have that type of money. But I show them how you can go 10%, 20%, 30%, 50, 80, and within 6 to 8 years, you doubled your money without doing anything. And anyway, he talks about by investing a small percentage of your income, maybe 5 to 10%, whatever you're making, $30,000, $50,000, $80,000, and put it into these funds. Let it work for you. And anyway, the students like it. It made sense. And I've been using it continuously, and I'm adding to it. As I said, I started to do summaries from it, short summaries, long summaries, main ideas, spelling, research into him, what his background was. I believe he called himself a libertarian, so look up libertarian. It's not a Democrat, it's not a Republican. What is it? The different type of libertarian. I believe the Italian writer from the United States, I forgot her name, she called herself a libertarian, and she's quite different than Walter E. Williams. So anyway, that's how I chose. So I tried, as I said, Dinesh D'Souza, and even though I liked the article, I did not go over it with students. So I try to pick articles that are good.